This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
You know, when people like reach out and ask for help, and it's something as simple as, hey, shipping her a box of tampons.
The one thing about this girl is she's never asked me for anything. She may have hinted about tampons.
217 Recovery Podcast. It is June 21st, 2020. First official day of summer.
I believe so.
Nice. Yeah, Dustin Drake. That was from an episode. It's called Finding Yourself or something like that. And Dustin had just completed his first task as Captain Save-A-Ho. We were ragging on him, no pun intended there, because he didn't have any money at all, and he was doing good sober, and he was in that place that we all kind of land in where we want to help people, and people reach out, for help. You want to help, and he was taking what little money he did have, and he was, sending things to this friend of his, and I don't know how a woman hints that she needs tampons, but I'm sure it's very humbling for her as well to not have anything and not even enough money to buy, necessities like tampons. So we were kind of ragging on him, again, no pun intended. And we said, yeah, we'll take you to go get some, but we're going to make you this cape, and we're going to put a face on it, and we're going to put 217 on it, and we're going to put Captain Save-A-Ho on the back. And he wore it. He wore it into Walmart in Petoskey.
With pride.
And we got pictures of it on our Facebook page. And it turned into a fun time, and it was, giving him a hard time, and he ended up mailing him off. So, big congrats to Dustin for even doing that. And even though we put him through hell, it would have been way easier for him to just be like, yeah, okay, never mind. Not going to do that. But, he stuck to his guns. He told her that he would help, and he did. And I talked to Dustin just the other day. Some people sometimes wonder, well, what happened to so-and-so? What happened to Chris? What happened to Rob? What happened, to Dustin? Where are they at now, and what's going on? And Dustin, I talked to him again the other day. He sounded sober. He sounded great. He's living kind of not really off the grid, but in a place that's easy living for him. And by easy living for him, I mean he doesn't have to have a phone. He can just wake up and live life and enjoy the day, and he doesn't have to worry about the drugs. And I think that's great for Dustin. Like I said, he sounded sober AF, and he sounded really good. And it was great to touch base with him and talk to him again. And he did bring up the podcast. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, I want to do a podcast. I want to get back on that and do that again. And Dustin's somebody who I really do believe in. I think that Dustin, I think he could do it. I really do. His problem right now is technology, and where he's staying, not the best service, and it'll all come around for Dustin. But I invited him to stay at the 217 Recovery headquarters. So it was funny because I was like, hey, you can come hang out with us, and he's like, yeah, we'll get a hotel room. I'm like, bro, I was like, don't you remember carrying them beds up here? Like, we
Right?
have an extra room, you can stay there. And he's like, yeah, I'll break it in. Tell me your dad already did that.
Oh my gosh.
Kid's on fire tonight. Yeah, so, yeah, Dustin, glad you're doing well, my man. And, we'll hook up again, and we'll do some things. And definitely got to go to UFAM rally with us. And we had a board meeting today, and we were planning some things. And I just like jumping all over the place. I don't think I like it. I think I just do it. Mm-hmm. And like the movie thing is still like in my head, like 24/7. I think about, oh, this would be a good shot here or filming here. And it's something that's going to happen for sure. I'm just kind of waiting because I'm not going to run out and buy a camera, like a big movie studio camera. And nowadays with phones, like they say the iPhone 11 Pro and maybe even, I don't know, the Max, whatever that does too, I'm sure is even better than the Pro because it's maximum. But I heard those are perfect for, shooting movies and stuff. So
You're talking about the movie that we're making with Paula.
Yeah, and Ron, I don't know what's up with him, over in Detroit, and I'm still waiting on an email from him. He was going to send me an email because he was going to do voice work and he wanted me to critique it. And he was going to send it out to radio stations. He wanted my input and feedback because, I'll be honest with him. And still waiting on that. I was like, yeah, Ron, I'll do that. So, and I think Ron means well, but I think Ron has a lot of things going right now too. And I don't know. I just think that it's all working out how God wants it to. We have a meeting with Verizon, the rep from Verizon tomorrow, because we get special nonprofit rates. So, I'm going to meet with him, tell him exactly, here's what we need, here's what we'll need in the future, and, let's put this together and get it done. So,
for the listeners that don't know, why don't you recap about what the movie is?
The movie is going to be, myself, Marnie, Anna, maybe Chris, I'm not sure. It was going to be Tyrone as well, but that's not going to happen in the near future that I know of. It still could involve some of Tyrone. That's just a tricky situation, which you'll learn more about in the next coming months and weeks and years, or whatever. But yeah, we're all in recovery, early recovery, and to kind of tell our story and where we're coming from in 217 recovery. And my vision of 217 recovery is to reach as many people as we can to let them know that being in recovery is not a bad thing, and to kind of change the way people think about recovery. For instance, in one of the counties we applied for grants for, she said, yeah, well, we're leery and, it'd be not wise for us to give you this grant because you have recovery in your name, and recovery is associated with addiction. Yeah. Okay. The life I live today is not the life I lived 5-6 years ago. I have made a choice, and it was not an easy choice. It was a life-changing and saving choice that I made, and life is so much better now. And I'm not ashamed to say that I'm in recovery, and we just kind of want to put that message out there. So with that being said, we want to educate people in the public, whether it be your mom, whether it be your grandmother, whether it be your kid, because you don't know if your kid is going to need help one day. You just don't know that. Addiction does not discriminate. White, black, yellow, whatever, rich, poor, it doesn't matter. Addiction is addiction. It does not discriminate. So for someone who's uppity and go, well, we don't really know because we're not in recovery. No, well, somebody in your family is. You're trying to hide it, and the more we hide it, the worse it gets. And to say, hey, James or Jim or Carol, whoever has a problem, okay, let's get them help. They shouldn't have to feel like scum of the earth because addiction got them. That our brain is built for that. Do you think that if we didn't feel good after we kill a deer and skin it and eat it, do you think we'd go do all that work again? No, absolutely not, because your brain's like, ooh, reward. And it's hard for people to understand it that way, but that's how our brain works, And the same thing with addiction. And a lot of people, and myself included, childhood trauma, is a huge part of that. And I want to walk around like I'm a 42-year-old man and I have no problems. That's what I want the world to see. That's not the case. That's not really what's going on. So I used to hide those problems, and now I face them. And I don't have to face them in public. Those are my personal demons. Those are my personal struggles. But I face them now instead of drinking them away where they're over there in the corner. And they're still there just sitting. So anyway, back to Marty's point of what are you doing this movie about? That's kind of what we're doing. We're telling our stories, and we want to go to different schools, and I want to film some of that. And I don't know, we probably won't be able to film kids, but hell, I don't know. I think of a different spot every day. I'm thinking, maybe we could just be in a library, in a room with a black drop or something and a light. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I just think about it all the time when I'm hearing songs. I'm like, oh, I want to start the documentary off with that, and just kind of show people that normal people. I didn't play basketball. I wasn't a football star. We can do these things and give hope to other people because, it's cool that, Dax Shepard has a little podcast and that, he was in recovery and, Robert Downey Jr. has pictures taken every year, and he's like, hey, this is when I'm clean. Eminem, that's cool, but those people are not on our level. I say our level, I just mean the average person. Like, we still kind of look at them and go, oh, yeah, well, I'm sure that they stayed in a nice, comfy resort. They weren't at Turning Point in Grand Rapids. That place is hell. And if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. I've been there, and it is hell. I don't want to go back. And it's not the fact that because I didn't go to a nice, fancy place. It has nothing to do with that. I'm just saying the common man and the common woman, that's who we are. But yet we're sons, we're daughters, we're mothers. Well, I am not a mother. I am a father to a kitty cat and maybe more, if you know what I'm saying.
Sexual relationship.
But, so we just want to make a movie kind of showing that. And if you watch it, that's cool. And if you're listening to the podcast, there's a good chance that you will probably watch it. And I think that's great. But once we get the movie put out, I think that'll really open the door to have people understand what we're about and where we're coming from. Because especially if they talk to me, I'm all over the place. I wear people out when they're like, what's 217 recovery? And then 10 minutes later, I look at their face and they're like, well, I remember when he started talking and now he's talking about ships and time travel. And
Welcome to my world.
But no, I go so far with it. And that's because I'm so passionate and there's so many things that I want to do. And I want to include, if it was my choice, I would have every single person in recovery working for us in some kind of way. And obviously that's not possible and not everybody would want to work for us. But I want to create jobs for people in recovery. I want to, get us real jobs. When I was in treatment, and I think it's kind of unfair, this group would come in and they would say to everybody in recovery, you can do this, and there's recovery coaching, and you can make money, and everybody's eyes, they light up, and it sounds like such a great idea, and you make $25 an hour working down there at the hospital, and they kind of trick you, and here's why I think it's unfair is because in early recovery, everybody in recovery and everybody working in recovery knows that we're vulnerable, and the thought of having a job that's meaningful and purpose, and we're just now feeling good, and we want the whole world to feel good. We're in early recovery. We're still in treatment. We're not facing the bill collectors. We're, just trying to make it to groups on time. And here this guy comes in or this woman, and they tell us about all these things that we can do and we can be, and it feels great. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. And then you get out and you realize, well, you can't do that for 2 years, and you have to be state certified. And to get state certified, you can never have been convicted of any kind of drug-related charge, but yet you're supposed to be a peer. So it's one of those. It's just one of those things that nobody's going to do. And meantime, people are out there on the streets dying, and nobody's getting the help that they need. And when they're in and out of hospitals, and there's nobody at the hospitals to talk to them, and it's frustrating. And I don't know. That's why I said we want to help the people, and we want to really create jobs that people can do, and we're gonna have fun too. And that's the thing about 217 recovery is I love having fun. I have fun in recovery. I'm not hanging my head. I'm not going to meetings like, okay, well, no one can see me going in here. I have fun, man. I really do, and that I think pisses a lot of older people off. Because they don't want to associate anything with 217 recovery. Nope, can't do that. No, what are they doing over there? That's not how we do it. And they don't want anything to do with 217 recovery. Even though I've personally done nothing, not one thing to them. I have not hurt one person in recovery. They hate me. And that was brought up by Anna today. And I just kind of told her, because she was like, oh my gosh, did I hurt your feelings? Because there was this dude who took off. Well, I don't know if you remember Susan Peachy Smith. I know you do, Marnie, but the listener, if you've been listening for a while, you've probably heard me talk about her. She was this chick she needs help is what she needs. And she says all these things that she is, and she makes up fake emails and, says at one point she said she was going to get us money, and she knew Debbie Stabenow and, all these grants, and she was going to buy us a vehicle. And I mean, all this stuff that I just thought was crazy. And then I called Debbie Stabenow's office, and they're like, yeah, we don't know that lady, and that's nuts. That's not how it works. And so then I thought, well, maybe she's just trying to hide the fact that she's going to donate her own money, because I know a lot of people who like to donate money want to be anonymous, and they don't really want people to know that it was them. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to give her a chance, because there was like a date that was set, like last August. She was like, well, we'll have it by then. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe she's like tapping into her 401k, which I wasn't going to stop her. I was like, she wants to get her 401k and donate it. That's great.